Yes, I've seen the green light. Okay, so saying, let's say for instance, we have budgeted 15,000 kwacha for today as our meal budget. Okay, and we go out there, we find that the meals are costing 16,700. Are we going to afford this as a buyer? Obviously not, right? Okay, so we'll be looking at sticking to this budget, okay, either buying the meals that are equivalent to the money that we have or slightly lower than that. Okay, so as a buyer or as a procurement person, you need to understand these concepts. Sticking to the budget, the price will help you to understand that. What about the seller? This person that is selling the goods, does price matter to them? It does. How does it matter to them? Somebody who's selling the goods to you. Okay? They need to make something on top of, yeah, what they're selling. So they can put what is called a markup. Okay? But they also have to consider what is called cost of goods. Right? Where are they getting the goods that they are selling from? So other costs that make up the product that they are selling must be considered. And this is why we want to look at these three main pricing strategies. Three main pricing strategies. The first one is cost-based pricing. The second one is competition-based pricing. And the third one is value-based pricing. Cost-based pricing, competition-based pricing, and value-based pricing. These strategies will eventually affect us as buyers. Okay? It's the seller making those, you using those strategies. But these strategies will eventually affect us, or what is called our buyer power or lack of buyer power. So first of all, let's start by looking at cost-based pricing. So in the cost-based pricing, we are looking at this, where this seller is including all the costs that they incur to come up with a price for their product. Are we clear there? All the costs incurred, to come up with the right price. Who has done business here? Anybody who has ever done business? Margaret, what business have you done? Have you ever done? Selling? Okay, selling clothes. So what costs do you incur? Okay, for you to come up with a, let's say, let's give an example. So you sell clothes, let's say shoes, no, blouse, right? So the price of the blouse can be, let's say, 10,000. How do you come up with 10,000? Yeah? How do you come up with 10,000? Do you just guess? Does it just come from the blues? Okay. So in cost-based pricing, what we are going to do is to say, for me to arrive at this 10,000, there was transport costs. Okay. What are the costs? Labor costs. What else? What other costs can we make? So let's just think. Transport costs was 2,000. Labor costs was 3,000. So the total is what? 5, huh? Okay. And then you put your markup. This is almost half, 50%. Okay. So for you to arrive at that, you're going to say 5,000 again. That's 50%. Okay. So transport costs, labor costs, total costs 5,000. Your markup, whatever you're going to gain out of that, is 5,000. So 5 plus 5 is giving us 10. That's how you arrive at your price. Okay? But then this price is what you and I, the others, will pay. Are we together? So the higher the costs that you are going to incur, the higher the price that we can pay. Unfortunately. Right? So we, as procurement people, as buyers, we want to have a supplier who is incurring less costs so that we pay a lesser price or a competitive price. Are we clear? Okay. Let's say, for instance, transport costs, labor costs, maybe security costs. I just want to add in so many costs so that we come up with security costs, market costs, city costs. So the higher the costs are going, 5, 5, 5, 3. Let's put 8 to 10, 15, 23. You see? So the higher these costs, these are just costs. You haven't added even your markup. So if you put 20%, let's say 20% of this, which is 2003, 23, 23, and 46. That's 46. That's 27. Okay. So we are going to pay 27,600. Can you imagine? The higher these costs, and then your markup will pay more. Are we together there? Okay. So the higher the costs, the higher the price that we are going to pay. But us as procurement people, we need to find suppliers that are selling the products at the right price, because the right price will help us to pay a better price, not a high price. That's the first strategy. But as Margaret is doing her business, because of these costs, eventually, if she fails to compete, if somebody else comes that is operating on low costs, will be able to sell the same blouse at 6,000 kwacha. And obviously, you and I will say, she's expensive, right? And then we'll switch. Because this one is incurring less costs to sell the product. Okay? So the higher the cost in terms of production, eventually the higher the price that you are going to set for your product. Number two, competition-based pricing. So in competition-based pricing, what is going to happen is this now. Margaret will set the price based on the competition. Okay? She will set the price based on the competitors that are in that industry. So for instance, you already find that Sebastian is also in the same market and he's selling shirts, blouses, trousers and stuff. Okay? So you find that, okay, Sebastian is doing the same blouse 8,000 and you are coming into the market, you are going to set your price marginally close to this, like let's say 8,100 or even 7,900. Okay? Are we clear there? So Sebastian here is your competitor. In our retail industry in Malawi, who are the competitors of Sana? We know Sana?
Yes.
Who are their competitors? Okay, so let's put here. We have got Sana. And then Chipiku, right? Who else? Who else? And Food Lovers? Okay, who else? Sana, Chipiku, okay, Chipiku, Shoprite, Ekaya, Food Lovers. Which one is another retailer, big retailer? So today, just make this assignment. See the prices, how different they are. Are they different? Where? Which one is expensive? Ekaya. Yeah? And Food Lovers. Because these are relatively premier kind of, so they set their prices slightly high. But Shoprite, Chipiku and Sana, their prices are a bit close. Okay? They use competitive pricing. Okay? They use competitive. So they make an analysis. What is Chipiku's, how much is Chipiku selling on this kind of product? How much are they selling on this kind? They do that, these three shops. These ones, because they are premier, kind of, they use the value-based pricing. Okay? Because those that enter into those shops, they know how much they are going to pay. So when you're going into Ekaya and Food Lovers, you need to have a little bit of some more in terms of cash. It's value-based, is what the customer thinks they can afford to pay. But what I'm trying to emphasize is on the competition based. So Sana, Chipiku and Shoprite will set their price based on how their fellow competitors are setting the prices. If they will go into this market with a high price, obviously people will not go to Chipiku. If Chipiku sets up a high price on their products, we will definitely switch to Sana. We'll go to Shoprite, right? Because that's where the prices are lower. So it helps us as buyers to benefit. Competition benefits the consumers. When there is good competition, it helps consumers. If there are many people who sell clothes out there, you should know that we are going to get lower prices. Okay? Value based, like I introduced, is how we perceive the product that is being sold. So our perception is that these are good products. Okay? Our perception tells us that these are good products, and if they are priced highly, it's because of a certain standard that we want to portray or a certain status, but it's the customer's willingness to see that there is value into the product. So the same sausage that we see in ShopRite, Chipiku, and Sana, if you go to Ekaya, you will pay more because we feel Ekaya sausage is, spicy and this and that, but it's the value that we see in that sausage. It's the value that we see in their beef. Yeah, the same beef we can find it in ShopRite, but we feel Ekaya's beef is more better. So that's how they have decided to set their pricing mechanism. But we are supposed now, as procurement people, assess those things. If you want quality and if you want generic products, there is a cost that you have to pay. Are we together? Should I move on? Let's look at supply and demand. Now you can go back to your example on supply and demand. So yes, pricing is affected largely by supply and demand. What do we know about supply and demand? Have we ever studied economics? We have, eh? One of the most, what? Not difficult, but most taught about topic is supply and demand when it comes to economics. So what do we remember about supply and demand, equilibrium price? When the supply is low, demand is okay. When supply is low, demand is high, right? What happens to the price? So the price is high. When demand is high, obviously supply is also high. No. When demand is high, price is high. Yeah. So we want to look at a situation as to how we, as procurement people, should be able to understand issues to do with supply and demand. Okay? Does supply and demand affect procurement? It does, right? How does it affect procurement? How do you think supply and demand affects procurement? Now imagine there is no supply of fuel and you're a procurement officer at Kamuzu Central Hospital. You're supposed to buy fuel for the ambulances, fuel for the generators. What can be your role? Procurement officer for Kamuzu Central Hospital. And then there's an issue of low supply of fuel. If there's low supply, obviously there will be high demand. Is it?
Yeah.
Low supply, high demand, high price. So what can you do?
If you notice that they will be, because
The reason why I've given Kamuzu Central Hospital is because it's a critical, yeah, critical area where you are supposed to save lives. Yeah, if you don't play your cards right, people can die, patients can die. Yeah, yeah, any fuel. Maybe diesel. Diesel is used in generators. Okay, keep it in bulk. Right? You buy and you keep it, but you buy it at extra what? Because there's a low supply. Okay, number one. If there's low supply, you, like I said, there are some, not necessarily generally that they are supposed to be like that, but in our case, when there's low supply of fuel, things change. Yeah, we know how the filling stations operate. They keep it for the, they were the gifted few or the blessed few. Others who are not capable, we go there, they tell us there's no fuel. Others come, they give them fuel, right? So you need to make a quick decision to buy in bulk, keep it in reserve, okay? So that during the lean period, you are able to supply the generators and you're able to supply the ambulances, okay? Unfortunately, you might buy it at a slightly higher price. That's why I'm saying we need to play our cards right so that we do not buy this fuel at an expensive price. But because there's low supply, high demand, price will also go up. Okay? So supply and demand, they really affect pricing a lot. So we need to know when, we need to see the trends. Okay? That's why we study forecasting to see, project what the economy might do or how the economy might change. Let's look at other things such as competition and market conditions. So organizations, any organization sells its product in a different kind or a variety of market conditions. We're going back to economics again. So we know about monopoly, yeah, duopoly. Somebody explain or give an example of a monopoly in Malawi. Monopoly. Water board. Okay? How is water board a monopoly? They're the only producer. But we have got boreholes and wells.
Those are not suppliers.
What are they? They are alternatives.
But we are saying the suppliers that they are making some money. They are supplying.
So, but you know, when you go to the village, they don't count on water board.
Just go freely. It's water is free in the village.
They add value into the water. That's why they put a price on it. There's value addition in the water, so they sell it at a marginal price for them to recover the costs. Because they buy chlorine to treat the water, right? It goes into a process. So yes, indeed, water board is a monopoly in the supply of water. They are the only legitimate. Who else is a monopoly? Eskom. Okay? They are also a monopoly. They are the only producers of electricity, much as we have solar as alternative. Okay? So in a situation like that, you should expect prices to go what? In a monopoly market condition. Prices are high because you've got no choice. Whatever price they are going to set, we will pay. We will cry a bit, oh, the tariffs have gone up, but eventually we'll still what? We'll still pay. Duopoly, two suppliers. Duo is two, right? Duopoly, two suppliers. Do we have any duopoly market condition in Malawi? Duopoly? I can't think of one. Monopolistic competition, many suppliers with differentiated products. Many suppliers with differentiated products. So this can be 5, but they are big and they differentiate their products. Okay? At least we have such kind in Malawi. The motor vehicle companies in Malawi, there are, I think, 5 with differentiated products. So we've got, off my head, I think I can remember, Sifao, which is now Toyota Malawi, and Imperial Motors, automotive products, HTD. Who else? Yeah, I think basically those are the ones. So these 4 companies, they are monopolistic in a monopolistic competition. They monopolize the motor vehicle sales market. And then you have got perfect competition. Many suppliers. So as we look at these market conditions, we should also understand how pricing is affected. Okay? Pricing is affected largely because of these market conditions. The monopoly, higher prices. Duopoly, obviously higher prices. Monopolistic competition, because of the differentiated products, still high prices. Okay? Whilst in a perfect competition, there are many suppliers of the same products. What should we expect? Low prices, fair prices, competitive prices, right? The same as what the example we were giving there. If we have Sebastian, we have Margaret, we have others, 6 of them, 7, 8 selling the same product, the prices will drastically go down. Okay? And the last one is monopsony. One buyer and many suppliers. Any idea? One buyer but many suppliers. It's the other way around of monopoly, right? Cold storage. Cold storage, what do they do? So many suppliers, the farmers, and one buyer who is cold storage. But we also have got Ekaya as the buyers from farmers. We also have got Nyama World as buyers. We also have got Sana, the open butchery, they buy. Okay. Do we know Central Medical Stores? How many of us don't? How many of us do not know about Central Medical Stores? How many do not know? Only you? How many know? You know? Yeah? What does Central Medical Stores do? Sells drugs. Sells medicine. To who? Okay? So, In Malawi, the only authorized buyer of medicine to distribute to hospitals, health centers is Central Medical Stores, right? Yeah. So what Central Medical Stores does is it pulls the demand from hospitals, health centers, government clinics, and okay. So they give the demand for medicine to Central Medical Stores, Central Medical Stores Trust. So Central Medical Stores Trust now buys medicine from different suppliers. Okay? So you've got so many suppliers and one buyer, which makes Central Medical Stores to be in a very powerful position, right? To dictate price because they are the only buyer. If you give them high prices, they may drop you as a supplier. Okay? So it also looks at the power, the buyer power of the supplier or bargaining power of the supplier, but also, bargaining power of the buyer, but also the negotiation part of the suppliers. So for them to reach a point where they are agreeing on price, negotiation plays a very big role. We know about negotiation, discussion, right? Yeah. So to discuss and then to agree on the price that has to be paid. So in this case, these market conditions will determine what price we pay as buyers. If we're in an environment where we are under monopoly, then we'll pay a high price. It's difficult. It's very difficult because high prices are inflationary. When you're paying a higher price for goods, yeah, it's not good. It affects a lot of things. All right? But would rather be in a perfect competition. So all what governments do is to help create a lot of competition so that we as consumers will be in a better position to make choices. Pricing decisions, therefore, are affected by the extent of competition, but also market conditions. It is very essential that buyers and sellers work together in order to drive out unnecessary costs that drive prices to go up. So at a point where you are now engaging your supplier, you have negotiated with a supplier that would want to engage you to be giving us products. There is what is called early supplier involvement. Okay? Early supplier involvement. Have we ever heard about this? Early supplier involvement, ESI. So early supplier involvement looks at us as buyers or procurement people involving the supplier at the earliest stage of our production. So every product moves in a cycle. We call it product life cycle. Have you ever heard about it? Yeah? Product life cycle. So from development to introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Yeah? In all those stages, there are different pricing strategies. Okay? Sometimes you use the lower price so that you can penetrate into the market. We call it what? Market penetration strategy, right? Sometimes you also use the high prices when the market is just young and there are no competitors. It's called price skimming. Okay? So if Margaret comes into a market where there is no competitor, for instance, we know that guy that sells chips there. He doesn't have any competitor, right? Does he? He has. If we bring our own food, Paseri, okay, so you can walk around and go and buy. You are going to kill the business. Okay, but within campus, he's the only person. No. Who sells chips? Yes, within campus. Okay. All right. So in a situation where we want to say, Chief, you are the only one who supplies the meals here. He can set a very high price because he knows people will not go anywhere. They'll be forced to eat within. Okay? So that is called price skimming. Okay? But when you go there and then you find there are already people that are selling chips, everybody comes with their food, you go with a low price so that you entice those that are buying from others to switch to you. And that is called market penetration. But slowly you start building up and then you raise your price. So at each stage of the product life cycle, there are different strategies. And this early supply involvement that I'm talking about is important at that point because you will tell your supplier at the earliest stage of your production to say, we want A, B, C, D, E, and we want fair prices. Okay? Because these products that you are buying are your raw materials. And if you are buying expensive raw materials, you're also going to produce high-priced products. Okay? So we don't want to reach that point where we're selling high-priced product and they fail on the market. Have you seen what our friends that set up what do you call it, sponsor shops or hawkers in our areas? Our friends from Burundi. What do? They sell their products at a slightly lower price. Have we noticed that? And have we seen how their products move? We're always on their shops. Always. Today they're bringing beans, finishes. Tomorrow they're bringing another bag of beans. There's another truck for sugar, bread, and what? Whilst next shop is a local shop. They have set a high price. And things are just rotting in the shop because people don't go to buy. But it's not about anything, it's about how you price the products. Okay? So price plays a very big role. Like we said, we need to understand also the cost of production. In our case, we said cost-based pricing is essential in understanding this, the balancing of these costs. Okay? The cost of producing an item must be lower for us to give a fair price or for us to gain from a fair price. If the costs are high, expect the outputs to be also high. Eventually, if the outputs are high, customers will not buy from us. And that's not what we want. Okay? So, as procurement people, we need to understand the costs of our suppliers. Okay? Understand the costs incurred by the suppliers. So, what can be some of the costs that our suppliers can incur? Suppliers for raw materials. Transport costs, yes. Transport costs, number one. Number two, Another cost, labor costs. Yes. Packaging costs. What else? So, warehousing costs. Yeah. Advertising costs. So all those costs, if you compound them together, they will make up a price that we are going to pay. Okay? And if the costs are too much, it means we are going to pay more for that product, which we don't want. So the area supply involvement will help us to iron out some of the issues that can be affecting the product, the prices that we pay. Because the supplier will also tell you that we are incurring these costs that are making our products to be high. Okay? I gave an example the other day about Irish potato. You remember? At Lizulu market. So I was saying, somebody might be getting the Irish potato from Ncheo and comes with it all the way from there to Lizulu. Somebody is getting the Irish potato from Waka Waka. The prices obviously will be different, right? Yeah. Another one is using an intermediary. Another one is getting it from farmers. Prices will be different. So you choose which one is giving you a better price. The one who is incurring more costs or lesser costs? Lesser cost, eh? Yeah. So we want to have somebody who is giving us lesser cost so that they give us a good price, very competitive price. We mentioned about price and perceived value. And we said a supplier's market offering may include, in addition to the product itself, such things as reliability, durability, good service, and prompt delivery. Reliability, durability, good service, and prompt delivery. Okay? So in these areas, reliability, durability, and prompt delivery, after sales service, installation, okay, those are some of the things that we come across when we are under this perceived value. So some companies, when you buy from them, like let's say a TV, they will offer you installation, yeah, they will offer you transport to deliver your product, and whilst others don't do that. Okay, so the business ends the moment you pay. The rest is your business. You carry it yourself, you install it yourself, and they will not even give you a warranty. If it burns, that's your fault. Others will give you a 1-year warranty. Yeah? So those are the things that you look at in a price. We don't just look at a price as just the ordinary price. What is contained in that price? So for instance, if you're buying, let's go back to a TV. So we want to set up a lab, an IT lab, IT laboratory. So okay, so this IT lab will require a 75-inch smart HD TV. Okay, it will require 4 of them. 4 75-inch. 75-inch is basically maybe like the way this the screen is. Yeah, it's big and it has to be smart. It has to be UHD. Now there are so many things about the definition of the colors. UHD TV. So these are high specs, right? Okay. So we've got game stores and We've got electronics for you shop. We've got Sky Electronics. Who else? Blockbusters, yes. Okay. So Game Stores is giving us 3,500,000. Okay. So they're giving us 3.5. Electronics for you, they're giving us 4 million. Sky Electronics 2.7. Blockbusters 3 million flats. Before going any further, which one would you prefer? Before looking at other things, based on price, which one would you prefer? Sky Electronics, 2.7. It's a fair price. 3 million. You're going to save 300,000. It's a fair deal, right? Yeah. So now let's start look at other things that compound the price. Yes, Chief. Okay. So from here, we have all agreed Sky Electronics, right? So let's go to warranty. Game Stores is giving us 1 year. Let's put 2 years. Sky Electronics for you is giving us 1 year. Sky Electronics, no. Blockbusters, no. Are you still going to maintain Sky?
No.
Okay. Delivery, yes. 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 Are we still going to maintain Sky? Where are we going now?
Yes.
We're going to Game Stores,
Yes.
Okay. Installation. Let's put no. No. Yes. Yes. I don't do. No. Yes. Are we going to maintain Game Stores?
Yes.
Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. The difference is what?
The difference is
500,000. Installation.
will cost 1 million.
No, installation will not cost that much.
You said 4.
Yeah, it's 500,000.
You said 4 smart TV.
Yes, 4 smart TVs. So one smart TV for somebody to install, to put on the wall,
Oh, okay.
it will cost maybe 20,000, 50,000 each. Or maybe 15. Yeah? So that cost that you're going to incur, let's say 20,000 by 4 is how much? That's 80, right? Yeah? So 80,000 plus that, it will be 3,580,000. We're still bidding electronics for you. Okay? So these are the reasons why pricing is very important for us to determine the right price that we are procuring our goods. Okay? Costs, much as the cost is there, but we can also look at that. Durability, reliability, prompt delivery, after sales service, installation, warranties, all these are included in the price. Okay? That's why we always also say that the lowest price is not the cheapest what? Because you pay dearly.
Sure, let me say something about the receipt value.
Perceived value. Okay, so perceived value is what you and I look at. Okay? Our perception on the product that this company is selling. Okay, I'll give you an example. Brands. We know brands of let's say fashion brands. How many of us know LV? All of us, yeah? How many of us know Gucci? Yeah. So these are brands. Perceived value. Is there anything different from you wearing a Chinese cloth? Most of the clothes that we wear are probably made in China, right? But those that are perceived to be the original Louis Vuitton, the original Gucci's, are expensive. Yeah? But people still go and buy. Why? Perceived value and status. Okay? So our perception on that product is what is called perceived value. The value that we get different from other products. That's what they're talking about. So if we talk about branded product, it's basically status, to stand out in society. Okay? But we can afford to wear other clothes that are also better.
Then how customers find the offer in Nigeria?
Yes. So if you go into a shop, we spoke about Ekaya, yeah, and Sana. What's your perception on Ekaya if you compare it to Sana? Do you differentiate the standards? Yeah. So that is called perceived value. What you get from Ekaya is just perceived value. Okay, it's your perception. The sausage that you get from Ekaya could be the same as what you can get from Sana. But based on your perception, you say Ekaya is better. Clear? Any other questions? Okay, so we were talking about the okay, we were talking about reliability, durability, and prompt delivery, installation, warranties that are very important when it comes to pricing. Okay. Sales of many consumer goods are sensitive to price changes, although there are some, for example, salt, cigarettes, for which substantial increases or decreases do not greatly affect the quantity sold. Okay? They are inelastic or insensitive to price. Let's see importance of obtaining materials at the right price. Okay, before we go there, is it important to obtain the right price for our goods?
Yeah.
It's important to obtain the right price. It is. Remember the 5 R's, right? We remember them? Right price, right quality, quantity, time and place. Yeah? So it's important to get these goods at the right price. One, they increase profitability. So if we buy these items at a good price, eventually we are going to process, add value, and sell it at a good price, eventually at a profit. To determine the right selling price, so when you obtain this, it will also help us to determine the right selling price. A selling price is the price at which we now sell our product. To determine the cost of inventory, so the price will also determine the cost of our stock, the items that we keep aside in our stores will be determined by the right price. To beat competition, so the right price will also help us to beat competition. Okay? If we set the right price, we can be able to beat competition. And then to manage demand, we can also be able to manage the level of demand by setting the right price. So if we see that there's a lot of demand for our goods, we'll set a high price, isn't it? If I sought after artist, people pay a lot of money. There's this artist called Burna Boy. We know? We know him? We should. Most of us should, unless you are too ethnocentric. But most of us know him. And we hear he's one of the expensive what? Artists. Why is he expensive? We know him. We said, yeah, we know. He's okay, he's mostly loved for his music. Sorry? Quality. Okay. So there are so many things that people pay for him when they want to engage him. Okay. High demand. He's most sought after. So he has put a price on his head. If you want me, come and get me, but you pay, right? So when there's a high demand for your product, you set a high price so that you benefit. It's not that there will not be any artists that will come. They will come. Others are already starting to get close to him. Yeah? We know them. So very soon, we'll start to switch to say, I think, not Burna Boy, but let's go for this one, right? So before competition comes in, make sure that you enjoy. So pricing will help us to do that. Let's see how buyers obtain prices. Do we have any platform where we can obtain prices as buyers, as procurement people? We spoke about it the other day. Trade fairs, exhibitions, right? Okay. Price lists, prices quoted on requests, individual quotations based on estimates, negotiations, auctions, bids. I wanted to concentrate on the auction. So there are two types of auctions. There is the normal auction and then there's reverse auction. What do you know about auctions? So in an auction, bidders Do we have any auction market in Malawi? Tobacco auction, eh? Okay. So how does an auction operate?
They compete on the terms of